and by Leslie Pellin, and I am obsessed with this. She sent it over. I believe this is from Urban Outfitters. I'll pop up a photo and retail price here if I could find it. We are going to be making this for a fraction of the price, and I was really excited because I actually had all of the supplies I needed to create this in my apartment already. I tried to make my own out of materials that I did have, so let's get started. This next project is time sensitive, however, we have a lot of time at the moment. So we're gonna be using the tools on the screen or the supplies on the screen here. And how I'm gonna start off by doing this is actually lay out my cane material and then pull out the cross weave. I'm just pulling out the longest side. That way I have a long strip to work with because I'm actually going to wanna wrap this around both of our metal rings. So that way they look like they are woven into this entire project without actually having to weave them in, if that makes sense. So this is gonna be a very repetitive, kind of time sensitive process of the entire DIY. And that is just going to be wrapping the full ring in this material. And I thought this was a pretty great idea because it's actually going to match the woven cane that we're going to be using in the base of the project anyways. So this is just going to make it look super complimentary and really nice in the end. So I'm just going to be repeating this, and what I suggest doing is doing about 15 or 20 wraps and then adding a little strip of hot glue, wrapping it, and continuing on with your process. And then of course every now and then you are going to have to cut off and add on a new piece. That way you can continue it all the way around. So I had the largest ring done. Here is the smallest ring being completed. Once you reach the end, add a little bit of hot glue, wrap it and secure it, and then just let it dry and cut off any excess pieces. Here are 2 rings completely wrapped. I laid down a bit of parchment paper and added some heavy objects to my cane material. That way I could go ahead and glue down our largest ring, and you're just going to want to add a nice bead of hot glue all the way around the outside, flip it over and press it down on top of your rattan. And then just gonna cut off any of that excess. And I flipped it over and actually added a nice, generous amount of hot glue on the backside. That way I knew everything was super secure and stuck. And you're going to then go ahead and glue down the interior ring on top of the mirror, which is the same exact size, and cut off any excess rattan material that is around the outside of the largest ring, as you could see. Once that is all done, you can go ahead and glue down the mirror to the center. So I'm just adding a ton of hot glue, flipping the mirror over and just gluing it right down to the center here. And as you can see, this is already looking so much like our inspo photo. And I'm actually adding a couple of these wooden beads I already had in my stash. That way they can kind of be used as little knobs, and necklaces or bracelets could be hung off of them. So just set these on top of the outermost circle, hold them for a couple of seconds, let them dry, and once they are completely dry, they're going to act as the perfect little kind of like jewelry holder. And I had these wooden rings as well, which I used in a past project, and I believe you could just find these at the craft store in the wood section. I took a little bit of the rattan and I actually wove this ring onto the top, just kind of weaving it in and out, adding a ton of hot glue on the back side, pressing down your ending tails, and that finishes off this project.